It's still not clear what services this reported charity was providing, but it promised help to those who need it the most. Now some of those women are coming forward saying the services have not materialized.
You give me $30 and I'll take care of your $975 light bill.
Cheryl Laban says that's what many low-income women were promised by a charity that operated out of this home near Ogeechee Road.
These poor innocent women that's been victimized with vouchers that are not valid.
Laban says women were told they could get utility and rent vouchers if they paid a fee, and she says many did.
50 to 100 the days that I was here. Yesterday when I left, there were about 20 ladies waiting in line.
He would just do these on his computer and give them to women?
Yes.
The vouchers don't look official, and according to Laban, who worked for the charity for about a month, they're fake.
Savannah Electric or Georgia Power, whichever one, they said that these are null and void, that he has not been registered with the Secretary of State as a nonprofit organization since 2005.
The charity Making a Real Change has a website and features a picture of Daniel Alvin, who many women say they dealt with. The charity promises help to the elderly and homeless. While most did pay $30, this woman says she gave the charity $600 yesterday with the promise her rent would be paid.
And I say I was walking out on faith, thinking that this man was legit. You know, he talks a good game. He talks an awesome game.
Do you think a lot of women believed him?
Yes, we did.
Well, we weren't able to ask Mr. Alvin about any of these allegations. That's because he's not here. We were told this morning that he probably left town. Word is that Alvin left this morning for Augusta or Atlanta.
I got a fake paycheck. Bank of America already has it on file. They said it is a federal fraud.
Jeffrey Stanley, who says he worked as a security guard for the charity, filed a police report today after his check bounced. And we found police on scene at the house after complaints from others.
I'm going to file a police report. First of all, these fake vouchers, this is fraud. Well, we did check with the Georgia Secretary of State's office today and found that Making a Real Change does not appear to have been active since July of 2005. I also called the phone number listed on the website to try to speak to Mr. Alvin, but the calls wouldn't go through. Meanwhile, this may be a good time to point out that most charitable organizations usually don't ask for money up front in exchange for services. JoAnn Merrigan, WSAV News 3.
This is WSAV News 3 at 6.
So he says that he is a registered charity and he's helped people. Is that true as far as you're concerned?
No, he's a scammer. He's a scammer.
More concerns tonight from low-income women who say they've been ripped off, and we continue to investigate the man running it all. Good evening. It's Thursday, August 8th. I'm JoAnn Merrigan in tonight for Tina Tyus Shaw.
And I'm Russ Friesinger. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with more concerns about a local charity. Is it really helping low-income women?
Well, last night I told you that some women who said that they could afford it the least said they had paid fees in return for the promise of getting utilities and rent vouchers. Well, the man behind the group denies that he has scammed anyone, but he has been in trouble with the law before.
I spoke with Mr. Alvin. He told me to come out.
Comedy Crawford says in late July, she was desperate to pay a utility bill of $1,000.
I gave him $500 cash on the 29th of July.
Crawford says Daniel Alvin from Making a Real Change promised to pay her utility bill and gave her a voucher.
The voucher he's printed up was fake. I mean, just fake stuff. Everything was fake. Nobody got any help. I myself did not even get any help.
Yesterday, several women, including one who said she'd given the charity $600, went to the home where the charity had been operating, saying as many as 50 women, maybe 100, had given Alvin upfront fees. Alvin wasn't there. Ironically, today, we received a donation letter in the mail from Making a Real Change with 2 phone numbers listed. I called one, and Alvin answered. I'm looking for Daniel Alvin. Alvin said the women were wrong, that he was a registered charity, although we couldn't find current records confirming that. I'll be happy to take the names of the people you helped. Alvin refused to give me any names and said his lawyers would contact me, but I received no calls. We did find out that in 1997, Alvin pled guilty to 8 counts of theft by deception in Liberty County. He also pled to deposit fraud that year. In November of last year, he was charged in Chatham County with theft by conversion. A booking photo indicates it is the same Daniel Alvin that appears on the charity website. Alvin was on probation for this charge.
He's a fake, he's a phony. I don't understand. This man is on probation. He just got out of jail for doing the same thing. Why? I don't understand what's going on.
Well, police confirmed they are investigating Daniel Alvin based on the complaints of some of the women. People said they heard 2 to 3 explosions. One woman told me that she heard the accident. She lives right by that intersection, and that she came out to see the road was on fire. That's were her words. The road was on fire. Again, this all happened about 3 o'clock this afternoon. This pickup ran a stop sign at Sand Hill Road and apparently hit the gasoline tanker, which again was going south on Highway 17. The tanker, I am told, actually traveled about a quarter of a mile south on 17 before it came to a stop. Again, it was on fire. 2 to 3 explosions. Fire departments from throughout the area are trying to put that fire out again. It appears that at this point they have been successful. Now, believe it or not, the incredible news of the day to me is that the driver of this tanker truck survived the accident. Police say he didn't even go to the hospital. They say at this hour he is being interviewed about what happened, but we have no word on the condition of the pickup driver at this point. The Effingham County Sheriff's Office does say that Highway 17 is going to be closed much of the night. Well, the governor says there wouldn't have been the kind of local control that he wanted. Now, in places like Georgia, the exchanges will operate without state help, a move at least one major consumer group thinks is a mistake.
No, I think the passage of time has ratified the wisdom of my decision not to participate.
The state's top leader, though, has no misgivings.
I'm not alone in that. I believe there are some 34 states who have elected not to have state-run exchanges.
The idea of the exchanges is that people who have no insurance can go online and shop for policies, and that the cost will be more affordable because many people will get subsidies. But the governor believes insurance rates for some will be a surprise.
Because I believe the rates in the state of Georgia are going to be extremely high.
So I don't think there's going to be any sort of enormous jump in rates.
Bill Rencher with Georgia Watch sees the exchanges as an answer for almost 2 million Georgians who are not insured, especially people who've been denied coverage.
For example, somebody with a pre-existing condition like type 1 diabetes that has never been able to have their own health insurance. Why would anybody want to stop that? Why would anybody want to get in the way of that person getting health insurance and accessing the system?
Well, while the governor says he's not trying to prevent the exchanges from working, the insurance commissioner recently announced he's going to require extensive testing of navigators above and beyond what the federal government is requiring. With everything set to go online October 1st, it seems anyone's bet right now what consumers will actually find on that day. JoAnn Merrigan, WSAV News 3. The name Otis Johnson is one many will recognize as the former mayor of Savannah, but Johnson says that before he ran the city, he had a more important calling, breaking a color barrier that no one else apparently had the nerve to try.
Apprehensive because I didn't know what was going to happen, but they had all of this area barricaded off.
He's not 21 anymore, but Otis Johnson remembers the day 50 years ago when he came to what was then the administration building at Armstrong Junior College.
And there was a Savannah fire truck hooked up over there in case they had a riot or something.
It was June 12, 1963.
On my first day of class is the night that they killed Medgar Evers.
He says coming back on June 13th was hard.
It was scary because you didn't know what would happen.
Still, Johnson was committed. He'd been among a group of 65 African-American students that wanted to transfer to Armstrong, but he was the only one who went through with it.
No black people had ever been here before. And it takes a certain amount of nerve or grit or guts or whatever you want to call it to go out, and given the violence that was associated with the civil rights movement all across the South, it took some nerve to do that.
So that first day, Johnson was alone, and for many days after that, calling himself the Invisible Man.
That's because they would not speak to me.
Nobody would talk to you?
No.
He says it was months before other students acknowledged him. He showed us the location of the old student center where he was allowed to eat, but at a table by himself. Still, one thing kept him going.
There were black women working in here, making the food.
Right.
And I could see the pride on their faces when I came in.
The downtown campus is gone and the world has changed. He hopes for the better, but says it is a reminder of what discrimination means and what it means to fight against it. You've come a long way from the kid that had to eat by himself in that cafeteria when you look around and you became the mayor of this town.
Yeah, that speaks to the possibilities